Hello and welcome to Forbidden Pass. In this one we got Lucian and Sheppard going at it, Aeon versus Cybern. Let's see if Lucian still has some skills after his vacation. Hasn't actually played too much, so this looks like a friendly game. Lucian says it's a test to see whether or not the Aeon is overpowered on this map, and it is for a certain period of time, because Tech 1, the Auroras can cross the Miller River. But actually against Cybern probably OP for a while. I actually think that Seraphim with their artillery is very annoying. And this river is actually not that effective because of the shape. And if you get a base going on the other side, it's Tech 1 spam and both times on both sides for all factions. So second air, I think that is the standard. It's just a question of what people will do with that second air. Scouts, interceptors for air domination, bombers, transports, gestures with Cybern, which absolutely decimate Aeon. And it looks like an Aurora, early Aurora here from Sheppard. And I will slow this down later. I will try to keep track of as much as I possibly can. Sheppard just getting his air factory. See how many PGens he wanted, what his power looks like. 6 PGens. And you can do 6 PGens with the Hydra's close, but here we're seeing better mass problems for Sheppard. And it looks like those rocks have been removed, so this is a new version of this map. Meanwhile, Lucian, no mass problems. And he's sitting on 6 PGens as well. And already at the Hydra. So Lucian just a little further ahead. And a Hunter. Going up for Lucian. No radar without Hunter. Radar leading for Sheppard. He's looking for this expanding engineer and he should be able to grab it. We are seeing a scouting plane from Lucian. And Lucian going in blind with this Hunter. And it looks like it has been spotted. 2 flares will take care of it. So far, better defense from Sheppard, but perhaps a little better economy from Lucian. Significantly faster on the tech to air. We're now seeing interceptors. Only the first interceptor for Sheppard. Already an interceptor and scouts, but a bomber, sorry. Did not notice his bombers. It's a flare and a bomber coming out at the same time. And we can see that there are inties going in for patrol from Lucian, anticipating an attack. He did spot the flare. The engineer has retreated. But let's see if the bomber for Sheppard can do something. Up on top. Yep, total domination by Sheppard as expected. This bomber from Sheppard, no chance. Good defense from Lucian. Scouts and NTs from Sheppard, but he does not want to go 2v1 here. The flare, meanwhile, will run away, retreat against the Mantis. This engineer seems a bit lost. I do believe you can just walk up on that hill, but that's what it's doing. And I really gotta slow this down now. I might actually even go slower than game speed now. We're at -1 for the sake of seeing exactly what happens. The bomber for Lucian has a very difficult task of killing a whole bunch of flares. Those, if they're microed, are quite good. And a rather massive air force now going up for Lucian. See what the response for Sheppard is. The ACU for Lucian also quite a bit more advanced. He's gonna get on the other side of the Z. Meanwhile, Sheppard doing the unusual. He's actually gonna challenge Lucian. So he's anticipating that if he can deny Lucian any foothold on his side of the Z, he can allow his Auroras to dominate. And looks like good play from Sheppard, taking out the bomber. Not really sure how he knew. Oh, I guess he knew that because the flare is doing great recon. Even though there's local air domination from Lucian up on top, it will not be used. And let's see if Sheppard can actually get behind those planes. He did not. That was an opportunity if he could have got behind him to get some nice shots in. Transport from Lucian Let's see what he's going to do. He's going to drop on these 4 mask extractors. That's a good idea. But there are already Auroras on the case. Very similar numbers in terms of air. And now a bomber from Sheppard standing by. Two air factories, 1 engineer on power spam. I imagine Sheppard quite a bit behind on power, and I think he's going to feel that soon, given that he is using 2 air factories to make interceptors. That will not be good. Lucian quite a bit ahead on power, but big mass problems. 2 engineers on the power spam probably should stop that. And here comes a successful drop. These engineers, unless these Auroras run away, which they will not, they will come back. Lucian should get these back on the transport and run away. And looks like 1 engineer will be saved. Interceptors for Lucian will give cover to that transport, although these are quite blind. It's a big opportunity for Sheppard to engage if he wants. He is coming in, but he does not have the numbers. And maybe I shouldn't have said that. He came in with lower numbers. Transport under attack. And so far we gotta say Sheppard looks better in terms of map control. He does have 33 mass. And here he will challenge Lucian for this position. This is gonna be one of the more important battles of this game. Lucian, meanwhile, slowly taking over his side of the Z. And the battle up here, Aurora versus Mantis, will be very critical as well. Looks like the transport will come back, and the air fight continues. And it is extremely even. Plus a bomber from Lucian coming in. Lucian still ahead by 60 power. And this will be a very important engagement. Lucian's troops much more organized, but no scout. These Auroras need to spot these Manti and regroup with a superior force. They do not want to fight in that position. Meanwhile, the Auroras for Sheppard going on an assault. Also a bomber for Sheppard. So Sheppard having a lot more success here on the bottom, but on top there could be a disaster. Yeah, the Auroras just need to run away. There's no need to engage right now unless they can really micro quite well. So far, first kill did go to Sheppard. And this is all that Manti got to do, is got to get close, and it's over. But overall, it does look like it was 3 kills for the Auroras and 2 kills for the Manti. Plus a lot more Auroras are going to regroup. Lucian now, not really sure what he's doing. He's climbed the mountain, he's just going to sit there. Meanwhile, Sheppard will get some factories. And now Sheppard is actually, now looking at the mass production, he's actually not that far ahead. In terms of map control, it looks quite good. He's also got a point defense to secure that area. But really no reason to do that. At this point, the far superior force for Sheppard. Lucian, meanwhile, drops off an engineer. These mass extractors should belong to Sheppard. If he had a couple forces of Auroras, I imagine he's going to come in with Auroras and try to attack. So we gotta have a front here along this river. It's all a matter of who attacks first, and looks like Lucian will attack first against a superior force, but he does have really good reinforcements coming in. Good scouting from Sheppard on the bottom, total domination by Sheppard. And now a point defense from Lucian. He waited and stared at the wall just long enough and built the point defense just in time to scare away Sheppard, but he does have a factory and not producing arty to counter. So far Sheppard slightly ahead, also catching up in terms of power. He's got 2 engineers on the power spam and a good scout from Sheppard. Do we see? Yeah, we see Tech 2 air coming up for Lucian here, minute 8. And more aggression from Sheppard. Meanwhile, the arty going to work. Lucian trying to get a factory going. Looks like he's not paying attention. The ACU should be protecting that point defense. The point defense will go down. The artillery for Aeon, excellent at killing point defenses. One thing that Sheppard might be wary about, of course, is the threat of air. And looks like an assault from Sheppard. He's just going to cross the river. He will deny all those mass structures, but he has opened up top, and there is artillery from Lucian to counter the point defense. So perhaps some of these troops should have stayed back. Sheppard is now coming in. We'll deny 3 mask extractors, and we will see an air fight here, minute 9. Very similar numbers will go down to micro. So Sheppard, after getting pretty good map control early on, he did go on an attack, but he did expose his base. And on the bottom, it does appear that he, after denying, actually, he does have a good looking group here and a point defense going up, so he should have a good front. And he's got a couple of Auroras just running everywhere, getting into fights. Now the micro for Sheppard here looks quite a bit better than for Lucian. Lucian's planes all over the place, so local fire much stronger for Sheppard, and it looks like he will win this air battle. That was a critical victory. Meanwhile, Sheppard retreats. He does not want to lose this position. The point defense getting kills. And this bomber from Sheppard should deny those arty. That is the most critical thing for him to do. Otherwise, this point defense is doing great work. And now this is not somewhere you want to run in units one by one. A lot of firepower here for Sheppard. Sheppard takes over 4 mask extractors. The ACU for Lucian is going to go back on his side of the river. And yeah, the bomber going to work against arty. This is good looking stuff from Sheppard. Sheppard playing extremely well, and now he's well ahead in terms of economy, 51 to 29. So Lucian, we do have to remember this is a friendly game, so he's probably trying random things, but Sheppard looking like a much better player than Lucian in this one, and can't really say Aeon gave him that much an advantage. Of course, this attack here was the advantage of Aeon, denying all those mask extractors, so that is significant. Otherwise, everywhere here, actually, Sheppard was going around the outside. There is some rating here that Sheppard has done, and in terms of Cybran strengths, Lucian hasn't really used too many, and I think this will be the first one. This gunship, tech to gunship, huge spread, will be very deadly against the Aurora. So this air control that Sheppard recently won will be critical. Tech to air for Sheppard. We do see swift winds and tech to gunship, so both players choosing to go tech to air. And I gotta say, it's still an advantage for Sheppard, who is now ahead in power. Does have more NTs, has the swift winds, but a lot of build capacity now for Lucian, who is now getting tech to power. Tech to power will be critical. Tech to power also starting for Sheppard. And for those who've played Total Annihilation a long time ago, a critical part of your economy is when you get that fusion plant, and very similar here, except it's in 2 stages: a Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3, and then other things. Supreme Commander. Once you get that tech to power, it really opens up the game for you, especially in the air game. Critical fight going up for Sheppard. He is paying attention. He will retreat against Aurora's engineer. Trying to get our forward raider will retreat. On the other side, we're seeing gunship for Lucian standing by. No kills, but an assault here. Yeah, Lucian is definitely thinking of an assault. This gunship has the capacity to kill this entire Aurora force within a few seconds. It will be critical for Sheppard to pay attention, and if there's an air fight, to win it. Here comes the gunships. So it looks like in terms of air, Sheppard will attack first, and this might cause an air battle. A couple swift winds protecting, and here we'll see this renegade. See how much damage it can deal up on top. Looks like now Sheppard will retreat with all his air, but he needs to take care of that renegade. Killing the engineers first. And looks like on the other side we do see that engagement. Let's see, what do I remember the buttons? Oh yeah, there it is. Split screen. Air fight up on top. Gotta kill that gunship. On the other side we are seeing the Auroras dominating for Sheppard. Yeah, no chance. A big victory for Sheppard. And now an air battle right over Lucian's ACU. Couple swift winds in the mix should give Sheppard the victory. Meanwhile, multiple gunships going up, and these can do significant damage, which would allow the ground troops of Lucian to make some sort of progress. And a Mantis here on the loose. Now let's see. Don't need the split screen no more. two power generators for Sheppard, only one for Lucian. So Sheppard continues to dominate. Gunship 7 kills for 1. The other one's dead. And Sheppard really needs to take care of this one. See how quickly this renegade is getting kills. And no air support for those troops. They gotta be yelling at those inties. And yet another assault now for Sheppard. Sheppard here now using the strength of the Aurora. He will spot this transport. No point defenses, so all these mass ejectors are at the mercy of Sheppard's units. More Auroras for Sheppard, and the point defense, 2 kills. Lucian is one of those people who does run into point defense. We saw that up on top. This point defense got a lot of kills, and here on the bottom once again. More swift winds for Sheppard. And Sheppard has total control of his side of the Z. And going on an assault. Lucian finds himself in a very bad position. Although in terms of mass, he isn't actually doing that bad. He is upgrading. He's got 1 Tech 2 mass extractor going on his second. And a lot of renegades. And actually Lucian may have missed this. Has a decent air force. Looks like he's been able to build that up. The air force for Sheppard is sort of spread out all over the map. As Sheppard goes on yet another assault, he's got multiple forces, and now the renegades and Tech 2 flag. So Lucian is anticipating an air battle here to protect the Auroras and using Tech 2 flag. So if there's the air battle here, he will be in a very good position. So Tech 2 land making an appearance. Lucian has some Tech 2 factories. He is making some Wagners to go underwater, and he's making Tech 2 flag. And looks like Lucian will get his wish of getting an air fight going, and we got to pay attention to this flag, how much an impact it will make. And it looks like Sheppard is just outside the range. The flag is not engaging yet, and now it will. And the swift winds should give Lucian or Sheppard that small advantage that he needs. Although the Tech 2 flag now moving in, he's got 1 kill. It does appear that Sheppard has recognized the threat, will retreat. It's a good play from Sheppard. Meanwhile, the Auroras still going to work. It's a bunch of artillery. As long as the Auroras move, they will defend against the Medusas. A bit of trouble here for Sheppard, taking a long time to rebuild gunships for Sheppard, moving sideways. Also some stationary anti-air for Lucian. So Lucian digging in. Some transports for Sheppard. And the renegades are going to go to work. So Lucian saying, if you're going to retreat, I will use the renegades to deny your Tech 1 land. That is the best counter that Cybern have to Tech 1 land, and it's actually very effective. Swiftwind's coming in, clean up the renegades very nicely. That Tech 2 flak is to make a little more progress, get up on this hill, although Sheppard now really threatening this position. He's got both land and air, and Tech 1 bombers being used by Sheppard to kill mask extractors. It takes 3 bombs to kill a Tech 1 mask extractor. Wagner's for Lucian. And this Mantis here with 3 kills. A whole bunch of dead mask extractors all over the place for Sheppard. A bit disappointing. 1 Medusa survives. So Sheppard not paying attention on all parts of the map. And you can see it is a bit difficult. We are now on exactly the game speed. You gotta not let this point defense, well, it's already dead, but don't want to let this engineer get killed for no reason. More gunships standing by for Lucian to go on another assault. Gunships with no protection from Sheppard. Each one of these is 200 mass, so 400 mass just flying around. That's half a Tech 2 mask extractor. Don't want to just lose those for no reason. A couple of gunships on the bottom as well. The Auroras not going on an assault yet, and there is some artillery moving in to take care of the point defense. This is exactly the place you want your gunships. Not here where there's a bunch of stationary anti-air. And the gunships moving in. Looks like the engineer is not lost yet. Now those gunships for Lucian will be denied. But the really big disappointing thing for Sheppard, he should be much further ahead, are all these loose units like this Mantis, and now the Wagner has made it across the river. doing all kinds of damage. That's really inexcusable given the gunship presence that that Sheppard has. Gonna see another big battle in terms of air. See 13 kills on one renegade, the other one has 9. And the Tech 2 flag here, only 1 kills. And a whole bunch of Medusas. Medusas plus Tech 1 point defense is a very good counter to most Tech 1 assaults. Meanwhile, this Medusa with 2 kills and those gunships completely denying this whole top. And Sheppard now basically even in terms of mass. Great work from Lucian. ACU for Sheppard is now on the move. Let's see, he's just going to move here. And a really disturbing lack of engineering in this area and up on top. The engineering for Sheppard really concentrated on the main base. So these raids from Lucian having a drastic effect. The mass structures for Sheppard not being rebuilt quickly. Meanwhile, more Tech 2 power for Lucian is going to his 3rd. Multiple Tech 2 mass extractors. You see it's already 4 of them. Tech 2 mass extractors for Sheppard as well. He's got 5 it seems. Oh, actually he's got more. He's got 6 and mercies for Sheppard. So Sheppard thinking about ending this game. And actually looking at what Sheppard sees here, it doesn't look that good. He does not have too much radar coverage. He's got a bunch of mass extractors which are not built. Compared to Lucian, he is really going on assaults on all fronts. Still using Tech 1, has a good air force, and he actually sees more of the map. And actually, I think this is the time when the map control is shifting in Lucian's favor. This force here, very significant. Sheppard is a little slow on taking control. Sheppard not getting any defenses up, and there's some Tech 2 and Tech 1 that are rolling through. If there is Tech 2 flag, so Lucian not forgetting the protection. These gunships will not be counter, and this is something that Sheppard cannot take lightly. He needs to do something. And now a huge gunship force from Lucian moving in. This is so much firepower. This Tech 1 anti-air will not be very effective, but a big air force from Sheppard, he should respond. And it does appear that after some great raiding with those Auroras from Sheppard, he really stopped his land production or didn't put too much build capacity, and now it is going to come back to haunt him. Point defense with only 2 kills. Lucian will take care of it with some Medusas. And all kinds of losses now. This banger will do damage. Sheppard needs to realize that this is not what he wants to do. Although he is targeting the banger. Oh, actually, good work. Lucian mocking Sheppard, seeing the mercies. Yeah, that's always good. A counter assault by the Auroras from Sheppard. He really needs to micro. He does not want to just rush in. He needs to retreat a little bit, and looks like he will not be able to do it. Plus a Wagner here, it'll be a complete disaster for Sheppard. I think with the correct micro he had a chance, but he did not control his units, and they'll be ran over by Cybern. Meanwhile, this force that no longer has flak is rolling through, and a lot of firepower. This is more Medusas than Manti, but a couple of Wagners for direct fire, and an air battle that we almost missed. That was a lot of gunships that bit the dust there. Good work from Sheppard. But this is a scary looking air force now from Lucian. Lucian ahead in terms of mass production, getting more Tech 2 mass extractors as well. Actually now 5, so a little more upgrading for Sheppard. But the map control is just not existent. These gunships have a lot of work. Tech 3 land from Sheppard. I did not see that. This will be very significant. Harbies on the field very quick, can reclaim. And Sheppard needs to use them as quickly as possible, because when you're looking at Tech 3 land, and we are looking at Tech 3 land from Lucian, he's at 22% on his Tech 3 factory, but no assistance. That'll be a little while before he gets it. The bricks will eventually overwhelm the Harby, but on this map, Harvey should give Shepherd a pretty big window. Meanwhile, all kinds of problems. These Harveys aren't able to get out, so not the best planning in terms of base management here from Shepherd. Maybe getting rid of a couple of those Tech 1 P-Gens would allow the Harveys to come out quicker. And a bunch of loose mass extractors. Once again, Wagner's being used to good effect by Lucian. Once again, this is what the Auroras have been doing at first for Shepherd, but now it's the Wagners. And a big assault coming from the bottom. More Tech to flag, though, coming in. And this is where the Harveys for Shepherd need to do the attacking, not the gunships. In terms of power, Lucian really beginning to pull away. And in terms of land, he is taking over. Let's see the Harveys now. Yep, they will dominate on top, so whole bunch of gunships and actually a whole bunch of Harveys. That's 6 Harveys and gunships. So in theory, Shepherd should kill everything on the top, except he's not sending any. Oh, this is interesting. That's a massive drop. We got some planes going over, and yet another drop. Some engineers. So Lucian is really on the one. This drop is right next to Shepherd's ACU. And interestingly, a couple of these Wagners. Yeah, they don't care there's a bunch of Harveys there. They will just go ahead. So even though this force is much stronger, there's so many more forces for Lucian. You can see he's got Wagner here, 2 Wagners up on top. This drop of Tech 1 taking out Tech 2 mass extractors, rolling through the bottom. So inferior tech with numbers and control just dominating. This point defense here is not going to survive. Total domination by Lucian. Now we're seeing a big scouting run from Shepherd. He does have these mercies, and yeah, another Harvey should do something. And this is such a huge investment, completely out of position. Lucian is just not even going to bother with it. And there might be a little panic for Shepherd. He's not really making the best choices. ACU fighting off Tech 1 in a big air battle. This is really where you want your micro for air. Some Tech 2, and that was some Tech 2 dropped off for his Tech 1, and he will draw in. That was such a great move from Lucian. He dropped in the Tech 2 and then drew in the Tech 2 force of Shepherd to fly over those. Who needs floating arty when you're Lucian? So yeah, this is now completely on its head in terms of economy. It's more than double the advantage in production. The Harveys should dominate here, unless they get hit by air. Now I wouldn't be surprised some Corsairs would be really nice, or even just the gunship since there's no flak. Elsewhere we see total domination, and Lucian sitting in a pond. You know, he's not going to get mercy snap there, and Aeon with those not so good torpedo bombers aren't going to do much. And this is why you bring flak, no matter how strong your force is. And another thing that's very disappointing about those Harveys, they were so slow. Their advantage is their speed, but they're just, you walk and stand still. And this is very demoralizing if you're Shepherd. Very unfortunate. But we saw a very even game for 15 minutes, I guess, and then Lucian just turned it up. Out of nowhere, he just started dominating. A whole bunch of torpedo bombers. These are not... Actually, this pond is pretty deep, so they might be effective there. Big air battle. The Swift Winds need to go to work because these Harveys are dropping. Some Tech 2 flak there as well. Lucian with some Tech 2 engineers making it across the river. And a fire base here would be quite nice. A couple of Harveys standing on the edge of the river thinking about life, but this is really not where you want that Harvey to be. And actually this air battle, Lucian chasing away the Swift Winds, although the Harveys are still alive. Looks like all the gunships went down, and this is a brick. So a brick, looking at a couple of Harveys running in the distance, a couple more bricks, and Lucian can go ahead and take this land battle. And elsewhere, these Wagners that were not picked up by the Harveys are going to dominate. So in terms of map control, you can see that Shepherd does not have much. He's got his ACU, his main base, and a couple of Harveys in the field. does have a couple good scouts. He will see that there's brick production. Make it even more demoralizing. A couple of gunships here doing nothing. No radar coverage. And from underneath the radar, from the fog of war, he's got a lot of units coming his way. And this really sucks now. All these torpedo bombers. See how far they make it. And Sheppard's still desperately trying to find Lucian's ACU. We saw those Mercies actually get hit by some Wagners. And the main base of Sheppard now getting ran over. I gotta say, out of all the Harpies I've ever seen, these were some of the most disappointing Harpies. And it's really how Lucian, he saw them and he just stayed away, except now with a brick. And actually here perhaps this was not a good move from Lucian, but it won't matter too much in the long run. He is dominating, killing everything that Sheppard has, and Sheppard is, we'll call this GG. Sheppard still has no idea where Lucian is. Wouldn't be surprised if Lucian, yeah, he's probably getting stealth. And that's a big advantage for Cybern until you get those Omnis and Tech 3 Air. You will not let... Yeah, and Lucian saying because Sheppard went for that snipe, and Sheppard of course is known for things like ghetto snipes. He's really strong at Tech 1, and then he will try to kill your AC, which is a strength, but against a patient player like Lucian, did not work. So hopefully people enjoy this one.